Right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of Cedarfield and families that are listening tonight, Pinnacle Advantage members and residents across the community. Welcome to our live chat here on August 4th. We have a packed agenda for the next 50 or 55 minutes or so. What we want to do first is to share just some awesome news. The scholarship committee folks are here, and this go-around's recipients are here, and we'd like to have a little presentation of this period of time's recipients of the scholarship. But before we do that, just a little commercial break about the scholarship program. About a year ago, a group of very dedicated residents got together with Allison and started to talk about scholarships at Cedarfield, both because we had an initiative within our 25th anniversary strategy planning celebrations, but more so for the long haul to differentiate ourselves and to be able to offer team members something different and unique here at Cedarfield. The funds in the scholarship program have been donated exclusively by residents. 100% of the leadership team has donated funds to the committee, and there are several families that are out there listening that have participated over the last 12 months. The scholarship provides some really critical funding for team members when they want to go on to aspire to be in different career fields within their department or their neighborhood. It's a huge benefit that we offer here at Cedarfield. I want to thank all of the residents and the family members and the team members who have generously donated over these last 12 months to really get this whole program started. In March, this group of residents awarded 5 other team members some scholarships, and we're pleased to have today to announce 4 more recipients to the program. I'd like to introduce Ann Williams to you, our next presenter. Ann is the application review chairperson, and today, August 4th, happens to be her 1-year anniversary of living at Cedarfield. If you don't know Ann already, she has thoroughly immersed herself into community life. She's obviously the chairperson of the application review committee. She is the facilities secretary. She's an area rep. She's a medical escort. She's chairing the Garden Day in May for 2022. She's a garden angel. Let me take a breath. There's a couple other things that she's involved with. If you don't know Ann yet, I would encourage you to take her to lunch or take her to dinner. You'll be better off for it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Ann Williams.
Thank you, Michael. Of all the fun things I do at Cedarfield, however, this scholarship review committee is my absolute favorite. We award scholarships twice a year, and I can't tell the recipients how excited we get when we know the applications have gone out to the departments. We wonder, will anybody apply? How many will they be? What do they want to study? I can't wait till we see them. They apply, and all of their personal information on their applications is removed before we get it. So we are looking at candidate 1, candidate 2, candidate 3. We have no idea who these people are. And so we go through our deliberations, and it is so much fun. And we then make our decisions. Then the people get notified, and today they will actually be introduced to everyone and awarded their scholarships. There are 7 people on the committee. We take our jobs very seriously. I believe each of us has also given personally to the scholarship fund. So many of us had to have scholarships in order for us to get through our lives. And Therefore, we support this very much. Did you wish to say something, Michael?
No, I was
No.
just saying, I need it.
Okay, he needs it for his youngsters coming along. This afternoon, we're pleased to present the 4 scholarship winners to you, and here to present our first one is Nancy Bolio, who is a wonderful resident and happens to be a good neighbor and friend of mine. She has helped introduce me to so many people at Cedarfield. Ms. Bolio, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Anne. She is truly an addition well worth getting to know at Cedarfield. Little did I know when I first met her, I was going to be leaning on her so much. But I've been in healthcare twice, and guess who's been at my door every single day? Ann Williams. Thank you. Today it's my privilege to recognize Mr. James Turnage. He is a houseman in our housekeeping department. You may ask, as I did, what does a houseman do? And I quote from his application, "You make residents happy. It is the most important thing we do at Cedarfield." End of quote. Mr. Turnage is married. He is a father and has had a wonderful number of careers, particularly in the auto business. He wants to be a leader and a leader at Cedarfield. James does not believe in watching the clock. Instead, he wants to know what he can do as long as he is at Cedarfield. Welcome, Mr. Turnage.
Congratulations. Great. Thank you, sir. Good job.
Good afternoon. It's an honor to introduce Carla Mayorga, a valued assistant in our assisted living Garden Grove neighborhood as a housekeeper and a valued team member. Carla came to the United States in 2005 from San Salvador. She's married and has 2 children, a son 10 and a daughter 3. She's interested in becoming a CNA, a certified nursing assistant. She's been a Cedarfield member for 10 years. I am so honored today to introduce and share her dream with you. Let me quote, "My goal is to become a CNA, to help better support my family. The scholarship will help me with my dream of becoming a CNA. My passion is to care for the residents. I always want to do more to help them. And by furthering my education, I will successfully reach my goal. I want to grow in this country." You're on the way, Carla. Best wishes and felicidad.
Great.
Our next Cedarfield scholar is Lori Andrews, Cedarfield's move-in coordinator, a very valuable person. She will be taking online courses towards an interior design certificate. May I quote her? "In my unique position as move-in coordinator, My personal goal is to make every move, whether it is for an individual resident or an entire household, as successful as possible. Formalizing my interior design skills is one more way that I can assist a resident in creating a comfortable new home. I am committed to resident satisfaction and have an interest in creating beautiful and safe spaces for residents at all levels. And the residents are talking about her as being wonderful. Congratulations, Lori.
Great. Thank you. You're welcome. Congratulations.
Finally, I am most pleased to introduce Ann Hopper. She is seeking a Bachelor's of Science degree in nursing. And I'd like to quote her. My hope in pursuing this advanced degree is to increase my nursing knowledge to include better assessment skills, case management, and business knowledge, as well as advisory skills. I will be better qualified to care for the ongoing needs of our residents' physical, social, and emotional needs. I want to give them the best care possible, and she does it. Congratulations, Anne.
Excellent.
Thank you.
And now I would like to introduce Frank Mountcastle. He has been part of the Cedarfield Scholarship Committee for the past year.
Hi, everybody. Good to be here, and congratulations to our scholarship winners. I think that's wonderful. James, Carla, Lori, and Ann, you represent the best, so congratulations. It's wonderful. Also want to thank the many residents who have contributed to the scholarship fund, as well as Michael's 100% team participation. That was excellent as well, and many family friends too have made contributions to the scholarship fund. So that's just wonderful. We're actually have 9 applications. This will complete 9 applications and grantees for this so far this year. And just want to announce that in October of this year, we will actually have at least 4 more, maybe 5. We don't know. It's just a wonderful, the spirit of applications and people who want to increase their skills is going strong. I think that Dean and I have really supported this. We've been here for 7 years now, and really count on the team members of helping us so much to make us happy campers. So we believe that it's very important for you all to increase your skills and professional contributions. And also these skills will help the Cedarfield community as we grow. Just the other day, Allison told me that we had received $7,500, the last week in connection with the fund. So the fund is growing and it's becoming a force for good and for applications in the future. If anybody here tuning in today would like to know more about the scholarship fund, please give Allison a call, and I'm sure Michael will be glad to field the call too if you wanted strict confidentiality. So that'd be more than happy, and any one of our team members would be glad to tell you about the scholarship committee. So many thanks to all the people who've contributed to the fund, and best of all, congratulations to our Cedarfield scholars. Thank you so much.
Okay, those of you that are here, if you wish to stay, please do so. We're going to continue on with our live chat. We have a lot of information to cover. The rest of the next 45 minutes will entail yours truly just kind of going over some COVID-19 upcoming preparedness plans and some new news, followed by some operational updates. Ann Hopper and Dr. Shear, our co-medical director, are here. We are going to, for obvious reasons, those of you that are keeping track of the news, we're going to involve Ann and Dr. Shear in our weekly chats as we did through most of the pandemic. We kind of tailed off in the last couple of months, but due to the seriousness and the craze of this Delta variant and the need to really adjust our preparedness plans, it's great. Many residents commented that having Ann Hopper and Dr. Shear on these weekly chats was very helpful. So they're back indefinitely. First of all, our dashboard at Cedar Field is green at this point. So that's great news. That one team member in assisted living came back to work. That team member is back and healthy. There are no team members and or residents in assisted living that experienced any signs and symptoms of COVID-19 over the last 10 days. So I do want to publicly apologize to any of the families in assisted living that are still listening to these videos. We did come out of the gate with that news of that positive case late. In fact, it was a couple of days late. And that was an oversight on my part, not on anyone on the assisted living team. We have prided ourselves over this last year and a half to be transparent and to get people the information that they need. And that was my error in communicating to the families and telling the staff to do so. So I apologize if we caused any unnecessary rest and anxiety with the families, as you heard the news from me at a live chat compared to the team on the day that we actually had the positive case. So the goal through this whole pandemic is transparency and communication and education. So we're back on track. Regionally, if you haven't been followed, over the last 18 months, we've been using the 7-day positivity rate, as have hospitals, the Commonwealth of Virginia, other nursing homes, assisted living, retirement communities. We use that as the benchmark metric as a gauge as to where we should be with our preparedness plan. Should we be accelerating items on the plan? Should we be backing things off? And I just want to share with you the news of, if you haven't followed the 7-day positivity rate, because we're going to start again sharing this metric because it is a little bit of a concern for many of us. In the Commonwealth of Virginia, as of yesterday, that 7-day positivity rate was 6%. That's up from 4.7% the week before, and then just 3 weeks ago it was 3%. So it's jumped 3% in the last 3 weeks. That's within the Commonwealth. In Henrico County, as of yesterday, it's 5.3%. That's up from 4% last week, and the week before it was 1%. So we've gone in the last 3 weeks from 1% to 5.3%. In the city of Richmond is now at 6%, up from 5.2% last week, and 2 weeks ago, it was at 4%. So the city of Richmond has gone from 4% to 6% over the last 3 weeks. That is giving epidemiologists great concern for the population in general. We all know that folks here at Cedar Field, 94% of us are vaccinated, but Dr. Shear and Ann Hopper are going to kind of go into a little bit more of detail about that. But those are the facts. That's the metric, the golden metric. And so our COVID-19 team is now meeting weekly, every Monday at 1 o'clock. We are communicating more frequently, twice a week now, with the Virginia Department of Health to kind of go over our preparedness plan and standards within that plan that we should be considering implementing. So the news I want to share with everyone today is there will be a letter that's being fine-tuned as we speak. So hopefully by sunset today, residents will have this in their cubby box and or their mailbox across all levels of care. And every team member will be starting to distribute this letter to every team member across the campus. And the news is as follows. It's a pretty concise letter. I'm just going to go to the letter itself and highlight some of the words from our Chief Executive Officer, Chris Henderson. And he writes, and I quote, "Throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, the safety and the well-being of our residents and team members, their families and their visitors, and volunteers has always been our paramount concern. We have communicated openly and transparently. We've worked diligently to educate all team members about COVID-19, the vaccine, and the highly successful voluntary COVID-19 vaccine clinics. We have enforced mask mandates, maintained physical distance requirements, and, as residents well know, modified services as appropriate to keep people safe. Because of all this work, really, quite honestly, over the last year and a half, we are really proud of the fact that we have had one of the highest participation rates across the region when it comes to retirement communities, assisted living communities, and nursing communities. We have seen an enormous participation rate with the residents at these vaccine clinics. Right here at Cedar Field, we have a 99% participation rate. And within the team members, we have an 80% participation rate. The national average across senior living within team members is 76%. So we're higher than the national average. And then fortunately, the number of COVID-19 cases, not just here at Cedar Field, but within the 5 Pinnacle Living communities, since we've started the clinics, has been really remarkably low, even though we've had unvaccinated folks at our communities. Sadly, our hard work and our perseverance isn't really enough right now because of this Delta variant. As you see the news, the new Delta variant is running rampant across the country. Hopefully those statistics that I just shared with you are evidence of that. And even in senior living within the Commonwealth, we know of a couple of communities very close to us where the COVID-19 breakthrough outbreak is sadly here within a couple of communities within the Richmond region, even with the participation rate that we have been blessed to have here at Cedar Field. So for us, the answer is clear right now of what our next step is. And the next step for Cedar Field and for all of the Pinnacle Living communities is as follows. As of Monday, September 13th, so that's just 6 weeks from now, all team members are going to be required to be fully vaccinated with one of the 3 available COVID vaccines. And it's a condition of employment. When September 13th rolls around, every team member needs to be fully vaccinated. So if we're talking about if they get the Pfizer or the Moderna, they have to have both shots by September 13th, or else their employment is terminated at Cedar Field or on the other 4 Pinnacle Living communities. All team members, we haven't really wavered from this next one, all team members must wear a surgical mask or a KN95 mask. If team members wish to wear a cloth mask, that's fine, but they must have a surgical mask underneath it. And the reason for this is we, as a society, we have gotten very laxed on mask wearing, and many people wear masks that really don't really help with the transmission. So we're asking every team member to wear a surgical mask. If they just want to wear a surgical mask, that's great. If they want to wear a cloth mask to double protect themselves, that's fine. But a surgical mask is critical. Independent living residents are strongly encouraged to wear a mask and practice social distancing in the common areas. At this time, we are not mandating masks for residents. We're just strongly recommending it. There is evidence in the research out of the Israel research to show that even with the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccine, that after 6 months, that effective rate starts to decline. And so we want to start gearing up to help protect you, the residents. And we really strongly recommend that you wear a mask, not just at Cedar Field, but if you're really out in public shopping and going about your daily life, visiting family, you really should protect yourself and wear the mask itself. It's not a mandate at this point. And then lastly, all visitors and volunteers must wear masks when they're here at Cedar Field. One additional thing about team members being fully vaccinated, we have a lot of agency folks that work here, contractors that are very close to the residents. And so if there is a private duty person that is in the health center or a private aide in independent living, we're going to require private duty folks and all contractors additionally to be vaccinated by September 13th as well. And this is all to protect the resident and, quite honestly, to protect yourself as well. All the research is showing, the experts that have far more data in front of them are suggesting that these vaccines are very safe, and it's time for Cedar Field and Pinnacle Living to step up as a leader in the region and make this a fully a requirement, a condition of employment at Cedar Field. So, yes, Mrs. Leeton.
Assisted living masks, assisted living masks.
Yeah, all across the whole campus.
You said independent living, you didn't mention it.
Yeah, all across the campus. So that's my news. This memo will come out hopefully today as they're fine-tuning it, as I said. I think it's a really important next step. We have about 70 team members that we have to help cross the finish line. We have so we've shifted. If those of you that have been faithfully watching the live chat, we were offering the J&J vaccine a couple of months ago, and although the J&J vaccine is very safe as well, it's kind of got a bad rap because of some of the things that have come up. So we have shifted we've shifted away from the J&J vaccine, and we're going to offer 2 clinics, actually 4 clinics, 2 in August and 2 in September, to get the 70 team members that are not vaccinated a chance to get vaccinated right here at Cedar Field with the Moderna vaccine. And so that's the vaccine that we will be offering at Cedar Field. Although a team member that's watching and or a contractor or a private aide that's watching, as long as you show proof that you have the vaccine, an authentic proof that you have the vaccine, if it happens to be Pfizer, Moderna, or J&J from somewhere outside of Cedar Field, that is fine as well, as long as we have that on file. So that's my news for today. Hopefully that's good news for everybody. As the executive team, the leadership team talked twice here in the last week or so, it doesn't seem like it's going to give us a lot of getting 70 people through the finish line isn't going to be that much of a hardship. We believe there's about 5 to 7 people who really have strong opinions of not receiving it, and therefore that leaves us about 62 people who pretty much have said, we're just waiting for Cedar Field to mandate it, and or have been taking the information that Connie McGowan and Dr. Scheer and Ann Hopper and the rest of the team have been providing them, and just kind of soaking it in and waiting until this moment. And so we really don't feel that helping 70 people cross the finish line is going to be a big hardship at Cedar Field. So keep everything crossed and pray, and we're going to execute, and we're going to be smart about it too. We have a thoughtful plan to help 70 people be well informed so that they can make an educated decision of whether or not they want it or not. But we're very, very hopeful. So if anybody has any questions about this newsletter, once you read it tomorrow or the next day, certainly feel free to call down to the administration suite. I am absent an executive assistant this week, and so Allison and I will try to filter as many questions as we possibly can in a very timely manner. But feel free to call us, or feel free to call the clinic, talk to Ann Hopper, Dr. Scheer, or any one of the other directors, part of the leadership team. And we will answer any and all of your questions just as soon as we can. Before I go into some operational updates, I'm going to call up Ann Hopper and Dr. Scheer to talk a little bit here next 10 minutes or so about some information about the current climate.
Hi, Dr. Scheer. Welcome back. To get started, what is this Delta variant that we're hearing about?
So the Delta variant is just one variant of the COVID-19 vaccine. So COVID itself has, coronavirus has been around for a very long time. It used to be the common cold. So we kind of knew that at some point there would be mutations in COVID-19. That's one of the reasons we've continued to kind of sequence the virus to kind of know what's out there. So this is one of the variants that I think was first found in India, has now made its way here to the United States, and is increasingly prevalent. So I think right now they're saying upwards of 90% of those that are sequenced are coming back as the Delta variant here in the United States.
Okay. So I'm vaccinated, and if I'm exposed to a Delta positive person, what does that mean for me?
So in general, you may not know whether the person is Delta variant positive or not. Most of the time, you're just going to know if they are COVID positive or not. Right now, we don't necessarily sequence every positive case. That's dependent on the state. And so they kind of do random testing to find out the percentage. But what you would know is that if you're exposed to somebody that you then find out was COVID positive, the recent change we've had, because before we said there was no reason to test vaccinated patients or vaccinated people even if you've had an exposure unless you're symptomatic. They've now just changed this. This is hot off the press. I didn't even know this information until today. But according to the Virginia Health Department, if you have had a known exposure, even if you're vaccinated, we are going to rapid test you within 3 to 5 days. And then we will monitor very closely for symptoms, and we may even offer a retest. So we may test you initially and then retest. And again, I don't even...
Define exposure.
Yes, we were going to get to that
Yes.
next. So this, I don't even think Michael knows this information. So this is just, now I discussed it with Connie and the health department. So we will start, if you have a known positive and you have been exposed.
And can you tell what exposure means?
So that's a great question. So when we say exposed, we don't mean that you've spent some time outside 6 feet apart from somebody and found out that they were positive, because that's not an exposure. You have to be within 6 feet of that person, unmasked, both unmasked, for a greater than 15-minute time period over 24 hours. So it could be 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, I believe, but it has to be longer than 15 minutes in a 24-hour period, and you both have to be unmasked, and you both have to be, in close proximity to each other for that amount of time. And then we would then test you.
Okay. I'm hearing about this third shot. Are our vaccines effective that we got in January and February? And can I get this third shot?
So there is no third shot right now. I wish there was, and I'm sure that we will be coming out with a booster. I'm kind of learning about it on the news along with everyone else. So it's not that there is anything available as a third vaccine right now, but I do think in the near future there will be. So far as the effectiveness of the vaccine, I have heard arguments against the vaccine. Well, they can't guarantee I can't get COVID, so why should I be vaccinated? The data does show that, if it's 90% effective, there is going to be, they consider people that get COVID that are vaccinated outbreak cases. And the reason why they call it that is because it's not normal. So 9 out of 10 people will be negative. It's that 1% that's exposed that will become positive even though they're vaccinated. So the vaccine still is very effective. After 1 dose of the Pfizer, I think I have some numbers in here, the New England Journal of article, when they looked at from UK cases of their variant, they showed that Pfizer was 35% effective against the variant after 1 dose. After the second dose, 88% effective. That still means that 22% of people could still get it after a second shot, but that's not the majority. So there's a lot of fear with the way the media presents everything, and we are, we don't want to downplay this too much, but we also want to alleviate fears that the vaccine is still effective. We still encourage everyone to get it. You can get, this Delta variant if you're vaccinated. There's more likelihood of getting it from the Delta variant than the Alpha and the Beta and the Gamma variant. But even with that, it's highly effective in preventing hospitalizations and severe cases. So when they just looked at, I think there was a Singapore study where they, because in Singapore they hospitalized anybody that's COVID positive, whether you have symptoms or not. And they looked and they compared those that were vaccinated and hospitalized and those that were unvaccinated and hospitalized. 90% of those that were vaccinated did not have symptoms. So that really shows that the vaccine is effective even with those that become COVID positive when it comes to symptoms.
Okay. What does the future look like for us?
I wish I had a crystal ball. As I hope all of you have been a little bit provided me with some grace, with some grace when it comes to, we tell you recommendations and then we have to keep changing those recommendations, and it's frustrating, and it's frustrating to us as well. I do think there's change going to be, that we're going to start to see some changes in the future. I think that will largely have to do with the positivity rate of Henrico County and the state of Virginia. because that's what I see when I listen to talks from other communities. So I know in Florida, where their positivity rate is 17%, they're now going back to kind of weekly testing, everything like that, of vaccinated and non-vaccinated. I do think that, Cedarfield in general has done a really good job of, their residents being vaccinated. And so that's going to help us. And I do think that this new mandate of making sure that everyone here is vaccinated is going to hopefully help us with having less cases and for sure the severity of those cases being much more manageable. So I think that's a key element. I don't know if that's going to change what the recommendations would be. So as it stands right now, all I know is that change is ahead of us. I would expect that to be based on, so I'd look very closely at the positivity rate of Henrico County and Virginia. And as that goes up, there may be new shutdowns and stuff ahead. So I don't think it will ever be as bad as it was in the beginning of all this, but I do think that we do have some changes coming.
All right, thank you. That's all I've got.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Scheer. Thank you, Ann Hopper. We appreciate you. We're going to, like I said in the beginning, we're going to continue to have Dr. Scheer and you're now Dr. Hopper, Ann Hopper on our live chats. It's critical information. Again, I did talk quickly about this. Any team member that is listening to this video and or this live chat, Connie McGowan, our infection control nurse, just published a newsletter today that will be going to every team member, an infection control newsletter. It's a great newsletter filled with information. Inside of that newsletter is the information about these Moderna clinics that are already scheduled. The Moderna vaccine is allocated to Cedarfield August 10th and August 24th are the two next clinics coming up for the Moderna vaccine for the 70-so team members that need the vaccine. Last week I was on vacation, so the week before the live chat, I was talking a little bit about navigation, the continuum of care, and we published a document. It was 8.5 by 14 piece of paper. We got a lot of comments about that literature, so we appreciate the 82 different comments that came into the office about that document. And so I just want to take the next couple of weeks to kind of go over a little bit of that document here and there. So during the next live chat, a couple, maybe 5 or 6 different live chats, if you want to follow along and make reference to that document, I would encourage the residents or family members, any family member that's listening that wishes a copy of this Aging in Place Continuum of Care Safety Net document that we created, please email me and I'll shoot you a copy of it. But I think it's worth taking some 5-10 minutes in the next several weeks to break down that document into little components and to talk about one of the strengths of Cedarfield, which happens to be this Aging in Place Safety Net continuum of care. It has been it's been a strength of Cedarfield for 25 years, and it's just getting better and better. And so I just want to highlight probably the most frequently asked question over the last 2 weeks. Is the wellness clinic closing? I don't know where these questions come up, but it's been a frequently asked question. The clinic is alive and well. Ann Hopper at the helm with Bonnie Berry. It's an essential amenity to the continuum of care, having a clinic. And the clinic, I guess there's been some confusion about, is the clinic, what's the difference between the clinic and Affirmation Home Health and Helping Hands? So I just want to concentrate on the clinic today. The clinic has been a staple at Cedarfield for the last 25 years, and it will continue to be a extremely important amenity to Cedarfield moving forward, especially as we help residents navigate through the maze of healthcare options that you have available to you in order to age in place. And so the wellness clinic led by Ann Hopper, that whole department falls within the lifestyles and wellness structure. Some of the key components to the clinic that I just want to highlight for everybody. First and foremost, Ann Hopper, when new residents come in, Ann is part of a team called a new resident orientation team. And Ann's responsibility is to meet with the new residents and talk about the clinic and the services that the nucleus of this safety net about the services inside of that clinic. So that's one big responsibility. Another huge responsibility of Ann's as a navigator is to be a participant in what we call the resident care committee. There's about 15 people that are part of this committee, and they meet religiously every week, and they go over incident reports. They go over things that have changed within residents. They go over residents that have been hospitalized. They go over residents who are cycling through the continuum of care permanently or temporarily. And as they're talking about residents, the end discussion point, whatever resident is being brought up, is, okay, what's the game plan that we need to communicate with that particular resident of offering them choices within this continuum of care. So, but Ann's a big piece to that discussion, along with assessments for plans of care and level of care placements. So as people need to cycle through the continuum of care, Ann and the social services team are at the center of that discussion. We have Dr. Shear, our co-medical director, and other physicians, Dr. Varanian and Dr. Cook. So we have an exemplary physician group here at Cedarfield. In my 23 years, this group is extraordinary. And they all have different subspecialists as well. So, but Ann and the clinic are at the helm of managing physician visits and connecting you with physician services. It's their responsibility. Ann does a lot of consultation with residents, nurse consultation. She goes out and meets with residents and does some consulting. We do simple things of weight checks and blood pressure checks. There's a laboratory in the clinic. Laboratory is not going away. We have radiology services where we connect with mobile imaging for residents right here at Cedarfield. The clinic's responsible for emergency care. So while there's a person within the clinic, namely Ann Hopper, her role is to help with 24-hour care or emergency care as people are pulling the pull cord. When Ann's not here, there's a whole system in place where other nurses around the community respond to emergency care. She can make appointments with residents to talk about nursing services, whether it's just a courtesy call to follow up on some results from physicians. We have subspecialists. There's a dentist in the clinic. There's podiatry in the clinic. I got great news. Many of you see a exemplary dermatologist right up here at the corner of Cox and Three Chop. We are working with an on-site dermatology group that will come here at Cedarfield. So Ann in the clinic would be at the helm of managing those services. So this is just some of the things that the clinic gets involved with. And I would encourage you, if anybody has any questions about the clinic, this is part of the continuum of care, whether you're a life care resident or a preferred choice resident. These are services that are available to the residents. And this service is not going away. Please, whoever is making up rumors that the clinic is shutting down, that could be furthest from the truth. So, that is my little informational navigation session about the clinic. Moving on. Past Northburg. Okay. One other thing Allison wanted me to share, hot off the presses, is our impact report, social accountability. This will be going into every resident's cubby box or mailbox here today or early tomorrow. Here's an example of it. It's a great report, and every community is highlighted in here with a great accountability report. Cedarfield story has to deal with the Fair Oaks Elementary School story, which Charlotte Bailey and Martha Cole Glenn helped lead, of connecting Cedarfield residents and team members with the elementary school through the pandemic with storytelling. So it's a great article on page 8. So again, thank you, Charlotte and Martha Cole Glenn, for helping us with that. So please take a chance to visit your cubby box and mailbox and read that impact report. It's great. A couple of other housekeeping items. Comcast. Whew. Take a deep breath. Comcast. Wow. We are still, I can assure you, if you have trouble with Comcast, particularly when you're navigating between 970, 971, and then back to the main channels, and your TV goes blank, I cannot tell you how many phone calls and emails that we have made to Comcast, and we're not done yet. We are working through our contract, using our contract language, to get the attention of Comcast to come to Cedarfield and fix this problem. I can assure you it's top of mind. Because the issue is lingering does not mean that we're not paying attention to it. So just wanted to get that out there. I have some indifferent news about the pool. I did make reference to this a couple of weeks ago. The skylight within our new pool it's a warranty item. The skylight is leaking, and so we're going to have to shut down the pool for a little bit. Effective August 16th, which is 2 weeks away, we're going to experience the pool shutdown. What is on paper is an 8-week shutdown. As I listen to the general contractor and the subcontractors, they really don't think it's going to take 8 weeks, but we're going to be prepared to have an 8-week shutdown. After this live chat, I have a call with ACAC to set up a contract so that we can use the pool over yonder in Short Pump. Okay, my next announcement is just an announcement. There'll be more details about this coming forth. However, we're going to facilitate an active shooter drill. Everyone will know the date and the time period of when the drill actually occurs. But I really think it's important that we experience a drill. Okay? And it won't be a surprise. I'm going to announce it, and we're all going to go through it together. I can't believe I'm saying this in the 24-year career that we have this drill that we have to do, but we have to go through it. And I think we'll be better off for it if we all prepare for it. We all have literature around it. We're going to invite the police department and ambulance and fire rescue to come to Cedarfield. And we're going to actually press, there's 5 buttons around this campus where we're actually going to press the button if someone sees an active shooter to really engage the whole process. And so more details to come. We are not doing it until I announce it, and everyone will be fully informed when we do it, I promise. And then every month hereafter, I think it's important that we take, one of the lessons I've learned through the global pandemic is there's this red emergency binder that sits on the administration's shelf, and it talks about all of the drills all the policies around emergencies that should come up. And one of my lessons to make sure that binder doesn't collect any dust, and that you continually really practice what's in that binder. And so I'm making a commitment, as far as I work here, in the rest of my career, to keep that binder on the front and center of my desk, and that we have drills every month around a particular topic. And the first one I've chosen is probably the hardest one, for due reason, because we live in a crazy world. So, and then just one more piece of good news. Thank you, everybody, for who have helped the beauticians through their grieving process. We know that we will miss Kathy and her family and the organization that's been here just for a long, long time, helping people with their beauty needs, haircuts, perms. Florence and I did solidify with Tracy, one of the hairdressers, a month-to-month agreement starting yesterday. Tracy and one of her hairdressers will be with us for the next 30 days, and we'll roll it over every month until we come up with a final provider. We're going to cast out the net. We do have 2 other providers that are interested in coming to Cedarfield, and Tracy's also interested in becoming a permanent provider. So this is called a request for proposal process. We're going to interview 3 companies, and residents and team members will be involved in that interview, and we'll select a beautician company partner for the future in probably the next 60 days. So, some master plan updates. Assisted living dining room is now open. That opened up on Monday. Residents are enjoying breakfast, lunch, and dinner in the dining room. And then that hallway with 7 other apartments adjacent to the assisted living dining room will open up. If you have been through assisted living in the recent months, there's that wall that was created. That wall will come down here on Friday, and will open up all of those apartments. So that's all refreshing news for the residents. And then on the 4th floor, the Health Services Administration wing will open up at the end of September. And then news of Morning Glory, our memory support assisted living. It looks like those residents that are currently residing on the 4th floor household will move down to the Morning Glory Avenue on the 2nd floor at the end of January of 2022. It looks like that's our latest projection. Residents that live in Lavender Lane, which is the north section to health services, health care, we're gearing up to transition to move those residents to the 5th floor of the household building in October, all in preparedness to get that space ready for a Medicare neighborhood, which Cedarfield really could benefit. The residents could really benefit from that neighborhood. So, and then that neighborhood is hopefully due to open up in June of next year. So that's a lot of information I just shared about the master plan. If anybody has any questions about that, please feel free to call down to the administration suite. Okay, I have one question that has come in, text and email. It has to do with residents that are not vaccinated. There's about 5 or 6 residents of Cedarfield that have residents that are not vaccinated. At this point in time, we have not rendered a decision of whether or not residents should be held accountable to the vaccine mandatorily, actually to live at Cedarfield, like we're asking team members to get the vaccine as a condition of employment. So at this point, we don't have that as a condition of residency at Cedarfield. that has not even been on the discussion of our agendas as of late. So thank you for your attention. I know that was a lot of information. Hopefully these live chats are as meaningful as the information that's coming in of the residents interested in particular topics. So it's not just me sitting here typing up an agenda, trying to constantly kind of get a pulse, a temperature of what the residents and team members are interested to hear, and that really forms the agenda. So I know today it was a lot. Probably the next couple of weeks will be a full hour of information as we unpack our preparedness plan and really help protect people through this next wave of the variant. So, okay, next up is Margaret, who's got some spiritual words of well-being. Margaret? Just close it out.
Thanks, Michael. It's really good to be back with you. It's been a while since I've gotten to stand up here and do this. I hope everyone is having a good summer. It's been very exciting for all of us to see family return to Cedarfield and children running around and even grand dogs. I've seen a few of those in front of my door, so that's been really fun. It seems that just when we think life is returning to some sense of normal, however we define normal these days, the evening news quickly reminds us that COVID is not only still hanging around, but regaining strength in some areas. COVID is resilient. The dictionary definition of resilient is defined as, or resilience, is defined as the ability to be knocked down by the hardships of life and come back at least as strong as before, being able to change course, emotionally heal, and continue moving forward toward whatever your goal might be. Yes, COVID has proven to be resilient, but so have we. The last year has shown that. We have rediscovered existing skills of coping with adversity, getting knocked down and getting back up again. Our ancestors survived similar challenges for generations, and so will we. We've gotten through this. We will get through whatever comes next. I have a poem that I'd like to share. It's written by Robert Longley. He has addressed the topic of resilience in a series of poems, and I would like to share this one with you now. It's entitled Resilience. Stand up to the fury, let the torrents rage. Keep things moving forward, stand firm and turn the page. It's just a part of the story, a challenge to be won, a dragon for the slaying, so as to meet the morning sun. Tomorrow brings another, and more each passing day. It's about how we get through it. It's how we find a way. This strength reveals resilience to deal with what lies in store, facing each day's challenge and coming back for more. So remember, whatever you hear on the news, you are resilient. We are all resilient.